Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Casual Debate, where we discuss topics from pop culture to politics from the point of view of various students. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing a few topics in relation to reading, so that being the role of public libraries now and going into the future, as well as the role of required readings in high school. And so with that, let's get into our first episode of 2022.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Casual Debate podcast. This time it's after hours. And today it is the year 2022. So this is also our first meeting in the year 2022. This is Chris from California. And we are also joined by our special guest, Erin.
Yippee!
Yippee. Next up is Lauren, who is the Casual Debate moderator.
Oops, I was muted. Yes.
Fantastic. Yes. And we have Vincent.
Hi, this is Vince from Ontario.
And we also have Josh, or CJ, or Carlos Joshua.
Hello, this is Joshua Nyag of Junior Hills High School.
And last, and certainly not least, Jeff.
Hello, everyone. I'm back, and I'm also from Junior Hills, California.
So today's topics are
Yay.
1, libraries, and 2, mandated text for English classes in high schools. All right.
Okay.
Which
So should we
one's
get to the
first?
library
Very
part?
good. So,
Let's knock out the libraries one first.
Let's knock out the libraries.
Knock out the libraries. I agree with that statement.
so role of public libraries. So in the future and going forward. So I guess we have to consider what is their role now.
Yeah. We have to understand the
Nothing.
parameters of the library.
Nothing.
The only reason why
Libraries
people
have
go to
not
libraries
benefited
now,
in any way.
yeah,
think-
the only
I
reason
think-
why people go to libraries now is
Guys,
for the
one at a
computers.
time.
Well, I think the big thing with libraries now is that it's got the age-old perception. It's you utilize it for books and books alone. You loan books, you take books out, you get them late, you pay a little fee for it. That's, I think, the most common perception that a library perceives today. But is that true? Well, let's hear about it.
I'd say it is true to a degree. Because like there's people that go to libraries. Well, there's people that see libraries as like a fountain of knowledge that young children can come to and like learn about whatever, and they I don't know,
can be.
they become successful. They can do that. However, for the
In the
majority
1950s,
of the
that was true.
people today are uninterested in reading, and they
No,
don't want to
I
learn.
mean, no, it's just because you have the internet. You can search up any
Yeah,
questions
it's
you
easier
want.
to get information, and you don't have to go drive to the
Yeah.
library, or in the school case,
Or
go
walk.
over
It's
to
true.
the school library just to get,
And at times the library is just doesn't necessarily have the books that you may be interested in.
yeah,
Because sometimes
especially
they have
That
the
is very
limited
true. Yeah,
selection.
that's happened to me. That is me every time. Yeah.
yeah, especially the school libraries. I've noticed that their book collection, just because of the size of it, is pretty limited, and you can't really get the most
At least you have a library.
information. Oh,
You got rid of libraries?
Well, because we're building the new school, so
Oh,
yeah,
no, I
Oh,
thought
well, that's
you
only-
meant like public libraries.
There-
You have public libraries?
of course we have tons of public.
I think the reason why
Okay.
I think the reason why libraries didn't cut out for me is because like we said earlier, they didn't have the books that I wanted to read.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. They don't have the specifics. that
honestly,
we
The
generally-
Yeah, like
books
a
that
great
I'm
game by
willing to
Stephen
read,
Harper.
they're all like either about history or they are historical books, or like the every now and then like medicine book.
they're always very obviously like very popular books, very mass media books, like books that people know about that are popular. Very rarely will they ever include like specifics. Like I remember I had to buy a
Unconsulted.
book about whales for like a science project, and there was no library within like 100-mile radius of me that even knew what a whale was.
Oh,
Sounds like
sure.
a sad
I'm
collection
sure.
of libraries.
Oh yeah, Erin. So what's your experience with these funny libraries?
I don't know. I always frequented the bookstore more than the library, but I have nothing
Exactly.
against the
Oh,
library.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
a lot
like
of
how-
technology to be accessed, although I don't know
Oh.
if that's how most people use them.
The only time I've ever used the library was for like a school project, book project.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's I think that's what most students use them. But if people use them for studying,
Because some
Well,
people
they
have
use
said
the
like,
computers at the library because everyone has a
Right.
computer, right?
yeah. So I
So
was
they use it to
thinking like,
print
how about
more.
because you know how public libraries obviously public, they're funded by the community or the government or just any government, right?
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I was thinking like, oh, well, if nobody is using these libraries, how about we just take it down? Obviously, there are
Yeah.
still people using it.
Right.
So
Definitely people still
I
use
thought
it.
of this new like I thought up of like, how about we kind of just have like publicly funded computer rooms, the same like function
labs?
as libraries have
Just
today.
without the books.
Yeah, if you're gonna say what Josh said, like have a lone community computer room, what's the
Mhm.
difference between having that plus books? It's not like books are a big
Well, I guess
expense.
in
Have you
like
seen
book
the
building
outdoor
new
library?
ones, right? Like you can keep the old ones. Like our local library has books, but if you were to make a new library in a new community, I guess we would
No
focus more
book.
on the tech part, like having
Yeah.
more computers rather than books, because
that is how you do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Right.
I'd say books will slowly start to get phased out, not completely.
I mean, it's
but
not like we are wanting the Fahrenheit 451 and burning all the books right now, but
grade 9 English.
I think the biggest aspect of the library is the input worth the output? Are we in is the investment that we as the citizens put into a library effectively making our community a better place? I think in a greater way, like Josh said, that we should have, I believe, a greater centralization of the bank. Not bank.
bank.
Freudian slip.
Libraries.
Bank
And in
of
that
knowledge.
sense, it is a bank of
Knowledge.
knowledge. But in a way,
Knowledge.
we want to centralize these areas if we're going to have areas of books, because obviously we don't want just, getting rid of these books. We want them to be put somewhere. And I think preferably we want to keep them in central locations, whereas we keep smaller hubs specifically for that more of technology or
There was an article I was reading how libraries should invest more into like their technology rather than books, because it's a shift. We're like a shifting age, a shifting era.
Mhm.
We're becoming more electronical, more and more and more and more and more. So
Yeah.
libraries either go with the flow or they stick to where they are right now. Which obviously, if they stick to what they're used to, which is books, they're gonna become obsolete.
they're
Yeah,
going to
they
fall
just
into
have to-
irrelevance.
Yeah. So
They just have to
Unless
adapt.
like the American power grid just suddenly fails, and then we're all
Well,
sent back to the
Don't jinx it.
Never know.
I think we all understand at least the value in having paperback and having those
Mhm.
physical copies. It's just in the modern time, it's more convenient to have either like a personal collection or just digitally find it.
Right.
yeah, I love
I think
books.
they should just have video rentals.
Oh,
So
God.
Not
true.
even books, just
I mean,
Oh, the
DVD after
DVD
DVD.
rentals. I don't.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
library, you had to pay a fee for
Yeah.
renting like DVDs. I was so mad
It's
about
a little
that.
offensive.
Speaking of
library fee.
DVDs, when was the last time you guys used like a red box or anything similar to that?
Never.
No, I
A red
never. I have
box?
too many
Never.
free Redbox
Never.
coupons. I never use
What's that?
Redbox.
Oh
It's
wait.
It's like this
Really?
vending machine
Yeah.
for movies and DVDs.
Oh,
Those haven't been relevant
never-
for the past
There's
5
still one in
years.
For 10 years,
What about Walmart?
Every Albertsons has a Redbox.
There was
their point.
only one library I really enjoyed, and that was the Library of Congress.
Okay.
I enjoy, and that was the Nixon Library.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We didn't even
Those
see
good
the library.
advertisements.
We didn't even see
Josh
the
coming to
library.
the next library. Where's the books, guys?
There wasn't
okay,
any books.
yeah.
I'm
question.
I mean, I
did-
enjoy libraries, but
When Jerry was telling me about like you guys' plans, I thought you guys were legit going to a library, and I was actually down
studying?
to go because I wanted to look for books of my own.
Oh.
Aw.
And then you
Comma
got
history.
disappointed.
And then when I came,
Oh.
I saw a big picture of Nixon. I was like, oh, this isn't a library.
This man
No,
got
it was,
this doesn't look like
it
a
was a
book.
model of Air
What's
Force
wrong with
One.
that?
It was
Yeah,
a
like
model of Air
it was like
Force One.
the moment I saw a gift shop, I knew something was up.
I think that's the main point here. I think we should place every library with 2 Barnes and Nobles.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
there's
I like
like
it.
Barnes and
double
Nobles
the
is
no,
overpriced.
triple the
definitely been to
amount
a
of
Barnes and
people.
Noble.
People more people. What? Anyway, um, more people hang out in Barnes and Noble and don't buy anything and just to look
Yeah.
at books than just go to the library and look at books and
At
not
least
even
they're
check them out.
interested.
Good
It's,
point.
Oh, you know-
it's easier just to go on Amazon and buy a book for like $3 to
Like I mean, like our classmates, they go hang out. Well, I guess it's because the shops, but you know they more
No, it's
hang
like that
out
everywhere.
at you know.
Yeah, because Barnes Noble is the only big building in the shop.
Oh, true.
The
And they go to the
atmosphere is
manga
more-
section.
That's
and then they
very
go,
sad.
And they have
There's just one thing I
toys.
also thought of right now. Libraries, like basically publicly funded study rooms at the same time, because
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I guess you could put them at
usually
like
used for now.
schools,
That's
or
that's
help
all
them
that I've
run
used them
at
for in
schools.
the past 5 years.
Yeah,
Like
'cause,
all
like,
my
in
collaborative
Toronto, we have this
projects.
9-story library. Everyone just uses it for studying. I never see anyone at the shelves.
What is our general?
adapt
What?
or die. That is
Okay,
our that is our
yes, adapt, yes.
consensus.
I think we're at a
Adapt.
crossroads because we can either help libraries adapt to the new age, or eliminate them entirely and then like kind of make
Fill their
separate
void.
facilities.
Yeah, you can just get a digital copy of the book, anyways. And why do you need a whole room full of kind of a waste of space?
Well,
Because honestly, the future of public
There's
libraries
EBSCO.
depend on the society.
Maybe seminar.
you know?
yeah, and I feel like most of our generation doesn't value libraries as much anymore.
Whatever the local society or community is feeling, the public
My
library,
neighborhood got a new library.
it's better for the public library to follow in their best interest, because what public
Considering
government,
the-
they got to do it.
What is that?
And considering the
Popular
expansion.
sovereignty.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yay!
Yeah.
This topic is
required readings
required
in
reading
schools,
for
especially in high school.
high school students.
So-
Okay.
It depends on the content of the books, because I believe that having a greater diversity and options for the students, and of course the curriculum with the teachers, allows them greater flexibility. However, that can be impairing if they just choose to be restrictive with their texts.
Okay, before we delve any further, we need to go over the purpose of like giving high school students stuff to read. Is there like any like scientific stuff saying that like
It like gives you a perspective, different perspective, like time periods too.
Yeah,
And Mark Twain, definitely a must need to read.
Yes, read.
yeah, like all the
read.
American classics. I think
Huckleberry
the point
Finn.
is to just like
Huckleberry
carry
Finn,
on
yeah.
those
Give him a
American
licking.
classics, and so the new generation can still what are they doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Analyze and do all the funny school things.
Take
Provide
inspiration.
something more nuanced than history lessons.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I'm on Healthline right now. It says that reading can help strengthen your brain increase your ability to empathize, build vocabulary, helps prevent age-related cognitive decline. Oh, I'm
Yeah, but
going.
it's
I'm
a
going
question
cognitive
on
I think we're
why
talking
we're
about
gonna read,
required reading,
what
like
we're
the
supposed
reading lists, like Great
not just should
Gatsby,
you read.
Yes, that is a
To
must
Kill a
read.
Mockingbird.
To
Yeah,
Kill a Mockingbird.
all those ones. Like
Also a must read.
should there still
Classic
be
American.
trying to
about
figure out
those?
why are they making us read?
Yeah. So why do we have the required list? I think that's
Because
what
their
Josh is going
parents
to.
read it, our parents read it.
Not only is it a part of legacy, as Prince puts it, but they're also staples of the American literature. American
Exactly.
literature.
I guess you could say it's also a staple of culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I haven't seen anybody like mention To Kill a Mockingbird or The Lord of the Flies.
What
I
do you
think
mean
it's
they
because
always bring it up
it's
in
now a
daily life?
school thing, right? Because and then people don't really want to talk about like school things outside
I saw
of class because
To
it's
Kill a Mockingbird
so
meme.
boring.
Oh, really?
As
you
Mark
know.
Twain once put it,
Yeah.
his books became so nostalgic that people didn't want to read them anymore.
Wow. What?
Well, it was
Dash,
it
what he
was
said?
it,
Deep.
no, it's like a paraphrase. Once the book became so popular, people didn't necessarily read it in that sense.
Mm.
I think we should have these required reading. I feel like Mark Twain is integral to how I grew up as an individual.
I think the point
About
is to
Hitchhiker's
like
Guide.
for the education system knows at least these like classic books like Great Gatsby, 1984, Catcher in the Rye. They all have specific lessons that that should be taught to high school students, right? So they're all on this list, right? And so that's why every student has to have like in their curriculum. Like for our 10th grade one, we did To Kill a Mockingbird, and we did I think it was Night.
Yeah.
I forgot. And then I think the purpose is because they all have specific lessons. I think required reading shouldn't just be down to those specific books, because I think there should be a point where students can choose to diversify their reading. Of course, they can do that outside class, but who does that these days? Like I
Right.
remember
Yeah,
my
who's gonna,
Go out of their
in
way.
complete
But
honesty, who's gonna
I'll
read
take an
voluntarily?
example. My freshman year teacher, he didn't really have, he did have some required reading. Like we did one book that was required reading for the whole class. But at one point in the curriculum, he had us pick our own books, and then he shaped the curriculum around that. There was still a list, but you could still, there was still like choice around that, and it was
Yeah.
based on our program, our health science program. So I think
Because to be fair, if I was like,
diversifying.
if I was the president of like the education board, I would only institute like required reading for like health benefits, like right here, like help prevent
Yeah.
age-related cognitive decline.
I think a
Mhm.
major.
That's the only reason why I would do that. Because I don't see, I don't see a benefit in like instituting like different books and different pieces of literature for culture, because like culture changes, people are going to forget about it, and things like right now people are only remembering these texts and pieces
Because
of literature
of
because of
the
school, not
yeah,
because of for what they were. It's because of their relation
because
to
they're
school.
always in school. Yeah.
Well,
Like,
in academia, they are usually highly regarded, but I guess in the realm of regular pop culture, they're not as well received.
No.
But pop culture always comes and goes. That's the whole fixture of it.
Yeah, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, we need to wait, what, Lauren, was it about like what specific?
we could go into that, but I think the question was just like, should we have these like required classic books to read still in school?
I'd say yeah. Then I'd say it is good to have, but it is good to have required reading for
I mean, it's the basis
health
of an English
benefits.
class.
Yeah,
I think yeah.
So
think
certain
the-
books, or
yeah.
just require students to read.
I think it's a certain books. It's
certain
more on the
books.
certain books. I
Yeah,
think
But it depends
the
on what
school
certain books they
generally
are.
is-
Mhm.
Yeah. I think the point, I think one of the points of like these classical books to read is just so teachers, or I guess so the education system knows like what teachers are exactly having their students read, because you could have teachers that are giving them, not great books for their level, right? Or, not appropriate books for their level, not in terms of like the content, but just not in terms of, how do I put this? Like it's not related to what a student should read, right?
Mhm.
And so these classic books are the great list into which like,
Mhm.
yeah, so we know The Great Gatsby deals with this theme, and therefore
That's
we're
true.
doing that. Or we know that 1984 deals with this theme, therefore that's in the education system. I think it's just to
That's true.
standardize it, right?
Mhm.
I think we should diversify. Like my ninth grade teacher was really cool about it, and he's like, okay,
I see.
guys,
Yeah, I think there is
more
a
diverse
benefit
books.
to making like to like instituting these different books, because it gives people a different perspective.
Hmm.
It exposes people, because even though I did say, oh, pop culture will change, and culture in general will change, people are gonna forget about stuff. It's good to remember, like it's good to look beyond of like the world you're living in. So
Yeah,
that is another benefit I
because
can see
there's
right now.
not a lot of exposure to like the themes.
Yeah.
I always say like The Great Gatsby, so in like modern culture without like reading that book. Of course, there's other forms of media for that, but The Great Gatsby is a great example of those themes at the time and those specific lessons.
I know that a lot of these books are obviously very general, but I think that's like kind of the point of them.
Yeah,
In their
it's easy
generalities,
to-
they give simplistic themes that are
But
it's easy
important
to
to
build
teach.
curriculum around like a set
Exactly. It's not
book.
as nuanced, I would say, as
Mm.
certain
Mhm.
texts.
I mean, human thinking remains, virtually the same over time. It's not like, because the lessons are still true even though they're like hundreds of years old.
Right.
Ooh,
So you can still use them.
there's a point of like, do these kids even read the books because of Spark Notes?
Uh-oh.
And
The Cliffs
No, I
Notes.
didn't.
Cliffs.
You think
Oh,
I did?
Erin,
Oh,
you
no.
I think I read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Well, I
Cliffs
mean,
Notes satire.
you think I read? I mean,
I read
you got a good point.
40% of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh.
even if we do require these books, most kids don't even read it. Like,
That's true.
okay, guys, our assigned book for our curriculum, this one is The Hunger Games. That was actually one of my
that's
ninth
it.
grade books.
That's a
Well,
symptom of our culture.
Lauren, how'd you finish in 2 days?
what?
How'd you finish the entire book in 2 days?
For what?
Never
Oh.
mind.
It's a
Oh,
joke.
I see. Sorry, I'm kind of tired right
You know
now.
it's rude.
That's but the thing is that simply that easy way out mindset is just a major facet of
It's just
modern
this-
education.
Yeah, it's just a
American
school
education.
culture now.
I mean, yeah, but even with that, I still support making like,
yeah.
I still support
Yeah.
implementing books because they're still reading Spark Notes. They're still reading
They're
stuff.
still getting the
That's
theme.
They're
true.
still getting the
eventually.
book.
Yes.
And there's
Reading
always going to
text
be the kids that are
messages.
actually
Yeah,
doing
the
all
handful
of
of
the work and actually reading the book, and that for their benefit.
Mhm.
Good for
That's
Yeah,
them.
but do
true.
you have to really worry about those individuals not reading to begin
I
with?
mean, for their benefit, I wouldn't say necessarily. Some people just don't want to fail school badly. All right, so what is the general consensus for books on?
Required books good, however, should diversify to other books, but
Yeah,
still
I think
good.
they
The
should
list,
update the
but
curriculum.
yeah.
Yeah, but so do you are you also saying that they should like kind of like do you want it to be more freer like how your freshman teacher did it, or
Not
do you want them to
just
implement
takes
more
more
books?
kinds of books, because I feel like it's always To Kill a Mockingbird or always Lord of the Flies.
I don't know if this is like a separate conversation, but I do have an issue with some of the like analyses that the teachers make us do with the required reading. Like last year, I felt like it was kind of uncomfortable to read Night because Night, Elie Wiesel, was about the Holocaust, right? It was a very like important unit, but the way that they structured the analyses, it felt like a very dehumanizing experience because of the way that they make you write about real people.
It's so
can see how that
robot
could
that
be.
where you
Yeah.
write the
It's
specific way that the teacher wanted.
right, and the
And
paragraphs.
luckily,
the-
I did
How
not
They
was
make you
it on
analyze the
that?
literary choices, but
It-
this is a person's life. It's just like it's uncomfortable to me, but that's a different thing.
Hi.
Oh, hi Lily, you want to join?
No thanks.
Okay.
Oh,
she already
okay.
knows. She already knows. I think it just depends on your teacher because I learned about the what's his name? The sorcerer's. I can't remember. It's not the sorcerer's stone. It's the
Here we
alchemist. The alchemist. The alchemist.
Oh.
And the alchemist was a great
Sorcerer's.
tale of finding oneself
This is a
and
good
understanding the inner beings of understanding and growing as
Wow.
a person
Oh wow,
instead of the Holocaust. Because I think we've
Fair.
all understand what the Holocaust is
that's right.
by now.
By now, you
I
should.
hope so.
I mean, I hope so.
I hope so.
At our old Jurassic age.
Oh, Lily. Okay, sit,
About,
Lily.
not about.
We're gonna talk about the role of required reading in schools. What?
You mean a boot?
Okay, what books have you read in school?
Most
After school screen exam.
I do AR.
Okay.
Oh,
I do
Mhm.
chapter books,
Or child.
but I also do articles. So you read an article and then you take a quiz. It's a question quiz, and then you get 1 point. This
Sounds like
year
Excel.
for this trimester,
not on
I
Excel.
got 25 points, which is pretty cool.
Trimesters
And
in
I
Oh,
did
very good. Good job, Lily.
And now-
Wonderful.
I'm proud.
Wonderful.
and I got 30 points.
Oh, really good.
Well done.
Wow.
Some
More win.
people get 50 or even like 70.
Ang galing
And
naman.
you can check how many in total you got from like
Matalino.
kindergarten all the way to now, and I got 220 points. in
Oh,
total.
very nice,
Wow.
Lily.
Yo,
So it's in my school.
With the real genius out here.
We
Okay.
also go to the
Okay.
library every
Of course it's
Wednesday.
Oh, what do you think
The
about libraries,
library.
Lily?
I think they're really calm.
Are
The
they dirty?
librarian
I
checks
think we
you
need a
for
new
every
podcast
chapter,
member.
I
the
agree.
large selection
Mm-hmm.
of books. There's even like these like books that you can like it's on like a square and you can twist it, but you're not allowed to twist that thingy. And then
Okay.
there's that
Who
book.
says libraries aren't
And my
adapting?
favorite selection of the books is the Magic Tree House.
Oh, very nice. Thank you,
That's
Lily.
it, Vince. You're out.
Aw.
We're bringing in Lily.
Fresh perspective.
In your school,
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yay.
Hi,
Lily.
Lily.
They say thank
Yes.
you, and they want to replace Vince with you.
No. Tell them
Whoa.
Sam Anthony has to stay.
Really?
otherwise calculus.
Calculus. She said she
You
wanted
know
to
what
be
it
She
has,
knows
calculus.
like-
kids these days.
Corruption.
There's a ton of words big
That
and
is
small,
false.
and I just can't read all of them.
Okay,
Woo!
wait, are we gonna harmonize?
Yeah, okay.
After.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this Casual Debate Podcast.
We need to
St.
begin.
John Henry
Wait,
Newman Choir.
CJ,
We need to do that again.
conduct. Can you give us 1, 2, 3?
Who?
Okay, fine. I'll turn on my camera then. Okay. Conduct. Okay.
1, 2, 1.
Wait, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4.
After
hours.
Yay!
And so that concludes our first episode of 2022. And as always, Casual Debate was made as a part of the Bark Podcasting Network, which is a student-run organization of podcasters from Chino Hills High School. Please support our podcasts by checking our Instagram, and that's at CHHS Podcasting, or by visiting our website where you can access all the network's original podcast series. And links to those will be in the description if you're interested. And if you want to support Casual Debate specifically, you can check out our YouTube, or if you're listening to us on the YouTube right now, you can check out our Spotify, or you can also check out our Instagram at casualdebate.podcast for updates on future episodes. And as always, thank you for tuning into the episode today, and I hope to see you in the next one.